to the Recon Trader. In my previous video, I set up a CryptoHopper automated trading bot on the BINANCE Exchange, and a few of the viewers commented that they thought those of us in the US weren't allowed to trade on the BINANCE Exchange. And in theory, they're correct. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but in theory, they were correct. So today, I'm going to show you a new strategy that I'm using on the Binance.us for US citizens exchange using the CryptoHopper automated trading bot. Before we get in the weeds on that, I do want to let you all know that I am looking at and doing some recon on a couple new/old automated trading platforms that have their own bots, different configurations. So you might want to subscribe now. I will have some videos coming out in the near future. One of them, for instance, is Apex. You might have heard of that one. I did a video a couple years ago on it, and it was buggy back then, so I stopped using it. So I'm revisiting that one. A team from, I think it's Mudrex, reached out to me, and I'm taking a look at that platform, and there's a couple others that I'm working on. So new videos will be coming, so now would be a good time to subscribe. With that all being said, also, if there's a platform you'd like me to take a look at, leave a comment down below. Now, let's get into what you came here for, and that's to see my new configuration on Binance US. So the first step is we need to add a new hopper. You've watched my videos before. You've seen we just click on Add New Hopper, and we're going to choose Add Auto Trading Bot. And you'll end up on the configuration page, and we're going to configure ourselves. So configure yourself is what we select. And you will land on the configuration page after you click configure yourself. And the first tab is the basic settings, and you'll basically name your bot. In this case, I just named it Binance US and MACD, which is going to be the strategy I use. I will activate it live at the end of this configuration. I don't want it live and misfiring while I'm configuring. So we'll go down to the next tab, which is Exchange, and it's going to be a live bot. I'm going to have it do live fire, so I'm not going to do paper trading. The exchange you select from the drop-down menu, and in this case it's Binance US, and you will need to load your API keys from Binance. And you will need to create those keys on Binance US. So if you don't have an account, there'll be a link down below, and you can sign up for an account. It's free. The only time you get charged on Binance is when you actually trade. And from the dashboard, you'll need to go to your account and go over to Settings. Under Settings, you will need to go to API Management. And you can label this as whatever you want. And then click Create. And then you'll have to go into your Google Authenticate, usually on your phone, and put in the authentication code. After you put that in, they will send you an email to confirm that you wanted to create said code. And you'll have to click on the confirmation. And after you click on the confirmation, the page will pop up with the API key and the secret key. Now, I will be deleting these. You definitely want to keep the secret key secret. You don't want anybody to know that. But before this video is ever uploaded, as I always say, this particular API key will be deleted. And so you'll basically just want to copy and paste those API keys in these two spots. And then the final item is user ticker rate is highest bid, lowest ask. Go to notifications, and the only notification I enable is I just want to be informed when a trade is executed. Under buy settings, I select market. I don't want limit orders, and with Binance usually your orders get filled fairly quickly, but you could put a time frame to cancel. I usually put 4 minutes. Again, whether it's Binance or Binance US, a market order fills fairly quickly. Although I will say on Binance US, the markets are a lot thinner. There's a lot less volume. And so some particular coins will trade a little lighter. Max open positions. I'm going to be running the Explorer package subscription on this particular bot, and the maximum coins I can have are 15, and quite honestly, on Binance, I'm not even able to find 15 coins that have enough volume to actually trade on. I think I'm around 9 or 10 coins that actually have any type of volume and actually perform well with my strategy. So the Explorer is just fine. Now, the only issue with the Explorer is the time interval is 10 minutes versus Adventure is 5, and obviously the Hero is 2. They give you a lot more positions, but the only real key factor in this particular case would be the TA with 10-minute intervals. It will be sufficient to execute my orders and my strategy, and therefore I'm going with the Explorer plan. If you don't have a CryptoHopper account, there is a link down below. You can get the Explorer subscription, and they actually give you a free trial. It's like 7 days, I believe. So anyway, back to the configuration. So maximum open positions, I've chose 9. Maximum percent open positions, I chose a number, which is 9. I only want 1 position open per coin. I don't want to hold 2 bags of the same coin. I just want 1 open position. I don't enable the cooldown period. This particular strategy can be a little choppy at times, which means you may get in, take a loss, but then you'll get right back in and take a win. So I don't want to eliminate those opportunities. And yes, sometimes you'll take 4 losses in a row, but your next 4 wins in a row will be much bigger if you do the stop loss, which we'll get to. Anyway, enough of that. And then next, I only want 1 open buy order per coin, which correlates to 1 open position per coin. And I don't buy on positive pairs. I'm going to be trading on US dollars anyway. So, and then auto merge positions won't apply, as I'll only have 1 position per coin. The next is coins and amounts tab. And base currency, from the drop down box, you can choose BTC or Tether, or in this case we're going USD on the Binance US. And then the coins I selected, I only selected 9. And how I chose those 9, there are a couple different methods that I use to find the best coins for my trading bot. One way is I trade most of the coins over here anyway, day trading all day long, so I'm pretty familiar with these coins in the first place. But I don't trade a whole lot on Binance US because, again, the volume's just not there. So in order to find some coins, and I'm going to ignore those notifications, I get alerts from TradingView based on certain criteria I have set up that will make me look at a chart. That's what those little alerts were, but that's not relevant to what we're talking about. So in order to find these coins, besides just knowing these names, I go to CoinMarketCap, and I want to see what kind of volume on the Binance US Exchange the coins actually have. And I typically don't like trading anything less than $500,000 in volume. I will go down lower in some situations, and in this particular case you're going to see a few coins that I did go lower on. I certainly chose Bitcoin and ADA and ETH. They all have $1 million plus volumes. And then XRP was at that around the $500,000. VET actually did not perform well with my strategy, so it is not included. And I do have Link. See, now I've dropped down below my comfort zone. ZIL did not perform well. Algo actually had a really good, strong performance, even though they had very light volume. There's a couple others down in here. I think HBAR is one. This is well below, this 161,000 in volume is well below my comfort zone. But after doing some back testing, it did perform satisfactory. So I did add it to the group. And we'll take a look at the back testing here in a moment. So I ended up choosing BTC, ETH, XRP, ADA, Link, Algo, Engine, XTZ, and HBAR. Those 9 coins survived the volume, if not so much the volume, at a minimum the backtesting. A couple of these were pretty thin when it came to volume, but most of them had enough volume. There's just a couple that actually performed well enough on the backtesting to be included in the strategy. Percentage buy amount, because I'm going to be trading with $1,000 to start with, test account, and there's only 9 coins, I did 9% and then did a minimum US dollar amount per order of 100. And I do check the forced minimum buy amount. And again, as I stated, the maximum US dollar amount allocated is going to be $1,000. That is my starting test account for any time that I'm trying a new strategy or a new bot. I just run with $1,000, willing to lose it. You need to be willing to lose whatever your bankroll is. And that's the reality of a successful trader, is they understand they could lose that all. If you're not comfortable losing that amount, you will make bad decisions. It's just the reality. It's a lot like playing poker. I play quite a bit of poker, sit down at a table with people who think of a certain bet amount as a car payment or a rent payment. They are so easy to push off of pots because they have that line of thinking. To me, it's meaningless. The dollar amounts are meaningless. But to someone that the dollar amount is meaningful, they make bad decisions. So again, only risk an amount you're willing to lose, whether that's $100 or $1,000, whatever. So enough on that. Next, we'll look at the strategy. And we're going to do the multiple TA. We don't do signals. Number of targets to buy is going to be 9 as well. I believe the max is 10. Yeah, the max is 10. So if for some reason my strategy saw 9 targets all at the same time, it will buy 9. The default's 1, and that's a lot more conservative than I would be. If my strategy sees 9 targets, my strategy better be right, and go ahead and buy those 9 targets. And let's take a look at the strategy. This one's super simple, guys. It's the MACD. And if you're asking what the MACD is, well, its definition is a moving average convergence divergence. I can go into more detail on the nitty-gritty in another video. It is basically a trend following momentum indicator, and that's what I really am looking for, is the trend and momentum, like volume and things like that. So that's kind of what I trade on when I day trade. I'm going to submit this to live fire and see how it performs. The candle size I'm going with is going to be 1 hour. Again, based on my back testing, the majority of the coins performed well under 1 hour. I think I'll have to set up a pool here in a moment for 2 of the coins that did better on 30 minutes than 1 hour. And essentially, everything else is disabled until we get down to the fast period. I have everything basically set to the default, 12, 26, and 9. There are benefits to default settings because if a lot of people are looking at those settings, you're going to get the reactions from that massive crowd, and that sometimes that's what you're looking for. And then I have it necessary as a signal to buy. So to recap real fast, the whole strategy is basically simple. 1 hour candles, MACD, the default settings, and necessary to buy signal. And then we go to the trailing stop buy is not enabled because of the way the MACD works. And I'll tell you what, let's take a look at a chart real quick. And so this is a chart of Link US dollars 1 hour on Coinbase. And the orange line is the signal line, and you're looking for the MACD to cross that signal line to create your signal. And so for instance, if we look back at the first cross over here, you can see the blue line crossing the orange line. The orange line's the signal line, and that is sending a signal basically on this candle here to buy. It's basically a buy alert at the close of this candle. To me would be a buy alert. And if we were to buy at this point, you can see it never actually retraces, and we might get a win of somewhere around 5% before it starts to go sideways and starts to retrace. And that's kind of what I'm looking for out of this strategy, is every time the MACD line crosses the signal line is to put in a buy. And so that's just one quick example of how the MACD works. You can go back on this chart and pull up crosses and see if they'd be winners or losers or not throughout. An easier way to do that is through the backtesting tab. Under the backtest, you can actually go through your coins, load your existing configuration, come down here, hit backtest, and you'll see how well it performs. So ADA didn't do too terribly bad. Over a time frame of about 2 weeks, it looks like it would have a max profit of just over 8% with 8 winners, 8 losers on the 1 hour time frame. Now this is actually one of the coins that does better on the 30-minute time frame. And so if we run the back test on that, you'll see that now my max profit is 11% instead of the 8.5%, and I actually end up with 8 wins and only 7 losses. And you can take a look down. There's some pretty decent sized wins in here as well, and that's because of a trailing stop loss. And when we go back to the configuration, you'll see how that will actually let this run as long as it doesn't move against us. And once it moves against us, it will sell us out. And we can go to best configurations, and we can see the different coins and how they performed under the different candle sizes. Like H-bar is going to do better on the 30-minute. This particular ADA backtest is not the backtest I just ran for this strategy. It's a different strategy. So disregard that. But these coins are all within my strategy, and we can see how they would perform based on the MACD strategy we're going to deploy. Now let's go back to config and finish configuring the spot. And so trailing stop buy, I'm not going to deploy because, again, as I showed you on the chart, the minute I cross, I want in. I don't want to wait. I want to go ahead and get in. I don't want this to continue up or what have you, moving in a positive direction. Once it crosses, I want in. So I'm not deploying the trailing stop buy on this particular bot. Sell settings, I have take profit at 199, market order, but reality is the trailing stop loss is how I'm going to execute my sells, other than stop loss. Sell on strategy. Some folks use the MACD to sell on strategy, and the way that would work, so on this lower cross is a buy. When it crosses on the upper end, that's usually a sell. So some folks will actually use the strategy to sell as well. We are not going to do that on this bot. We are going to sell based on a stop loss. If it moves 0.7 against me, I won out. The signal was wrong and I won out, and I'll try again at a later time. And then for my trailing stop loss, which is my take profit exit basically, I'm going to look for it to arm at 1.9%, and if it moves against me 0.49%, I went out. That is basically a 1 to 2 risk versus reward ratio. So I'm giving up, as far as the risk, 0.7, and worst case, if this moves against me, I'm going to end up with 1.5 in profit, assuming I don't get any slippage, and that is approximately a 1 to 2 risk versus reward. And that's the minimum I will ever go with. I prefer a 1 to 3. But in this particular strategy, the 1 to 2 will suffice. Use trailing stop loss only for taking profit, and reset if the order fails. And I do not do auto close. Short selling on this bot is not going to be set up, and I never dollar cost average. And the last thing we need to do is set up our pool for 2 of the coins that actually traded better under the 30-minute time frame versus the 1-hour time frame. So we just click on Add Config Pool, and this is going to be 30 is what I'm going to name it. And need to add the 2 coins that perform better under this 30-minute time frame. And ADA was one of them, and HBAR. And we need to change the strategy to the 30-minute candles instead of the 1-hour candles. And we'll just check through here and make sure everything else is the same. Okay, so now we've got that set up with the 2 coins, and on the 30-minute we click Save. And now we have a pool created for these 2 coins to trade a little differently than the other 7 coins. And that's, real important part of doing your back testing. They're not all going to perform the same under the same conditions. And CryptoHopper does give you an opportunity to have some pools so your coins can have a few different tweaks so they can perform at their maximum capability. And with that all being done, we jump back to the base config, go to the basic settings, make this a live bot, and save it as a live bot. Go to the dashboard, enable the hopper, and it should pull my balance in a moment there. And so I'm going to edit this amount. Some of this balance is included in, and we can see we already got a buy on engine. So already getting some activity on this bot. And since I like this to start out at a 0 balance, I am going to go ahead and update the amount to the 1573. What it's doing, it's actually counting about $240 worth of Binance coin along with the actual US dollars plus now engine. So I'm going to paste that in there and submit. And once we submit that, we can see that that's now balanced out at 0. This was at 0 before it picked up engine. And the bot is now active, clearly, as you can see, and searching for targets. And that pretty much wraps it up. We're going to let this run. I'll do an updated video in the near future. So be sure to subscribe. If you like the video, spike it a like. And until next time, remember, never send your money into battle before doing your recon. See you in the next video.